Okay, let me start with anybody here who have ever been in Indonesia before? Except, okay, many people are familiar then with Indonesia. So have you ever seen a million people gathering and chanting Hubul Watan Minal Iman? That's to love one country is part of our faith. Anybody ever? No? Okay. Have you ever been in a religious event, Muslim religious event, where dua is led by a female ulama with male ulamas present and amining the dua? Never. Oh, you have?
I'm not sure whether everyone has ulama status, but I've been at gatherings where there's been a woman leading the prayer or giving the khutbah, and there are men and women.
Okay, Amina Wadu. Are you talking about?
Not Amina, but
Oh,
more local people in London.
Okay. Have you ever known Muslim women's organization pushing to get fatwas on contraceptives by their parent organization, Muslim organization, in response to high maternal and infant mortality rate, resulting in the fatwas of contraceptives, impacting the nation's family planning program, making it one of the most successful family planning program in the world, coming from a women's Muslim organization. Those are the things that you will find if you come to Indonesia. Not only about having jazz music in Ramadan time in the mosque or in the yard of the mosque, or Pa Muazzam yesterday mentioning about the beautiful experience that he had learning about women in hijabis in Indonesia driving motorcycles even at night.
I've seen that.
You've seen that?
Fantastic.
I forget to push my button. So Indonesia is home to the biggest population of Muslims in one single country. We have 87% of Indonesians, roughly 262 million people. So we have 210 million Muslims living in Indonesia. But Indonesia is not an Islamic state. Indonesia is a democracy, is a republic. And how come? It's because of the Muslims in the country. So if you are looking for an example of how the Muslims become the backbone of democracy in one country, then Indonesia is one of those. I don't know anybody else actually, but in Indonesia we have a robust democracy. We have one, more or less, one of the most stable democracy in the world. We are the third largest democracy in the world, and again, it's because of the Muslim society. So the Muslims are not against the democracy in Indonesia. As a nation, Indonesia is bound by the ideology of Pancasila. That's the 5 core principles with the slogan unity in diversity. And that slogan was taken because we have 300 languages, around 1,200 tribes and smaller subgroups. And the 5 core principles are beliefs in God, fair and civilized humanity, Indonesian unity, deliberative dialogue to reach consensus, and social justice for all. These are all the core principles that the Indonesians live by as a nation and as a state. So if you go to Indonesia, you will find that there is a strong sense of equal citizenship among people, and a strong trust in democracy and Pancasila, The latest research shows that around 85% of the people believe that democracy and Republic of Indonesia is the best forms for Indonesia. And we also have I think one of the most robust interfaith initiatives. It's in abundance, and also with the challenge of gender equality within the Muslim society. If you go to Indonesia, you will find the presence of Muslim women very, very strong. You will find them everywhere. Yesterday I mentioned about the way people divide the congregations like this. In bigger congregations, yes, the women and the men are usually given different parts, but always the same lines, always in equal. And it's never a bother to see a woman sitting in the areas of the male areas and vice versa. So what makes Indonesia can be the third largest democracy while home to the biggest Muslim population? First of all, the character of religions in Indonesia. The Ministry of Religious Affairs has just finished a study, a framework on the 100 years of practice of religion in Indonesia, and they found out that there are four main characteristics. The first one, big religion in Indonesia proclaimed their commitment to nationalism. So it's not something vague. It's proclaimed. Like the most influential Catholic bishop in Indonesia always said that a Catholic person should be 100% Catholic, 100% Indonesian. And Nahdlatul Ulama, the biggest Muslim organization in Indonesia, they always proclaim that Republic of Indonesia is mu'ahaddah wataniyah, an agreement of nationhood with other elements of the society. Another big organization, Muhammadiyah, would always say that Indonesia, Republic of Indonesia, is Darul Ahdi wa Shahada, a state of
Covenant.
agreement. Yeah. So these big organizations, these big faith-based organizations, they proclaim these fundamental beliefs, and of course it is transmitted to their followers. The second one, tolerance as a living values, because all these big religions, they understand that Indonesia is plural from the very start. So we have many tribes that are divided, but always work together even though they're divided by religion. Like for example, in Maluku they have this tradition of Pelagandong. The Muslim village and the Christian village are bound by familial bloodlines, and then when the Christian village built their church, then the neighbor village, which is the Muslim, would help, and vice versa. And the third one is non-violence in religious practices. So no religions in Indonesia is spread by war and conquer. It's always about cultural strategies. So the practice of religions itself are always non-violent. And the fourth one is respect and a cultural
Culturalization.
culturalization of practices or tradition absorbed into religious practices. Like the story of Sunan Kudus, considered as one of the awliya in Indonesia. When he was preaching in Kudus, he realized that the majority of the people in Kudus were Hindus. So for Idul Adha, for the Oh my God, what's the
Sacrifice, like
Sacrifice.
the kurban? Yeah, the sacrifice. Oh my God, that's the word that I was looking for. For the sacrifice, he advised not to sacrifice a cow in respect to cow as the holy animal in Hindus. Instead, it should be buffaloes. So up until now, in Kudus, you will find that in Idul Adha they would sacrifice buffaloes, and these four practices, these four traditions, are founded on principles of ta'adul, tawassut, and tasamuh, fairness, justice, tolerance, and the middle way, the middle path. That's why in Indonesia we have a very popular framework. That is the trilogy of ukhuwah. So this NU proposed these principles that a Muslim, if he or she wants to achieve Islam rahmatan lil alamin, then he or she should uphold the three ukhuwah solidly together. That is the ukhuwah Islamiyah, ukhuwah wataniyah, and ukhuwah bashariyah or ukhuwah insaniyah. Ukhuwah Islamiyah, solidarity between the Muslims. Ukhuwah wataniyah, solidarity between Indonesians. And the third one, ukhuwah bashariyah, ukhuwah insaniyah, solidarity across humanity. This is some principles that people in Indonesia live by, and it's because of the contribution of two largest Muslim organizations in Indonesia, the Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah. Muhammadiyah is the more modern organization. They have currently around 8% of 210 million Muslims, so that leaves around 20 million members of Muhammadiyah. And Nahdlatul Ulama, by the latest count last year, is 39% of the whole 200 million. That leaves around 80 million members. In Nahdlatul Ulama, we have 23,000 madrasas. We have 7.5 students studying in these madrasas. We have 300,000 ustadz and ustadzah all over Indonesia. So this is a huge organization. And these two organizations, they champion democracy. They provided the perspectives and paradigms on the relationship between state and religions. And that's why we can see how last year, for example, NU came up with a fatwa that in democracy, the term kafir is irrelevant. In democracy, the term kafir is irrelevant. This is not to say that Indonesia does not have its share of challenges around religiosity and democracy, but those are the things that make up Indonesia's democracy, and it came from the backbone of the Muslim society. So in summary, reflecting on Indonesia, Islam can play a major role in supporting healthy democracy, with several important stressing points for me coming from Indonesia. One, a strong conceptual framework on state and Islam relations. And the second is the presence of strategic faith-based organizations promoting the concepts. Without the movement, the organizations, it won't work out. And the third stressing points would be a massive work to win the discourse. In Indonesia, we never take this for granted. We know that we have to work hard on it. We have to always continue the work, because we know there is challenges, and we can cover that later in the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.